Greetings everyone, my name is Buck Business. Konnichiwa, I'm Kawaii Critic, and today we're here to review My Little Pony Season 8, Episode 16, Friendship University. Oh boy, here we go again with this moral. So we begin this episode with Star Swirl-san now starting to wait to Twilight-san about helping others and learning about friendship. We see a little appearance by Cozy Glow-chan as she arrives with some boxes for Rarity-san's little lesson and sits in on what Twilight-san is talking about. And they discover about this Friendship University via paper. And the Student 6 also seem into it. So the two of them decide that they're gonna check it out. They arrive at their university to see Flim and Flam are in charge as they begin their little song about their school. And during this song, they tell that their work was looked at during the song, and I do want to emphasize that part very strongly because that's going to have a lot of implications for later on in this review and why this episode isn't as good as or as strong as it could be. And just because it has a super strong character like Star Swirl doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get a pass automatically. We are proper reviewers. We do not succumb to character bias. Anyways, Chancellor Neisei-san arrives on the scene talking about how Twilight-san doesn't have the right to have a monopoly on this whole friendship thing. And of course, Flim and Flam-san both cry. They do their little acting crying. And the Chancellor gets on Twilight-san's case all about it. And they show off that Star Swirl-san ended up attending their school instead of hers. So she keeps trying to say how bad these two are, and Star Swirl-san says in his defense that he used to be like that and wants to give ponies like that a second chance, considering that finale he was a part of. Anyways, he decides that he's gonna stick around, and for her to go back to her school. So Rarity-san decides that she's gonna go undercover, and somehow that works, wearing a hat, a shirt, and a skirt, and creating some alternate name. I forget what it is, but whatever. And Twilight gets an eye patch and 2 little sticky notes for cutie marks. And Rarity goes to class, where she does pretty good and gets pretty much top of the class very early on. And the chance to study under or with Star Swirl is offered as a added bonus for other students. And thus, Twilight starts snooping around in their office, reading the papers. Again, a very poorly realized scene once they put the end of this all together, and I'm just gonna say it now. How did she not realize that that was her work? I mean, later on, they clearly say that they took it from her, but how did she not even realize that that was her work in the first place? She wrote the book. Shouldn't she have known what she had written about? It seems a little bit, stupid on Twilight's part. It makes her look like a stupid character in this moment. Nonetheless, Flim and Flam-san both played up some more. They bribe her, taking off her disguise, bribing her to stop, saying that they have stuff on her, saying that they caught her snooping in the office, so they can get her in super big trouble on jealousy points, I guess. And Rarity-san shows off her little notes, and Twilight-san updates Rarity on everything that's been going on, and Rarity-san mentions the papers that they are offering are being charged. And this is where the episode completely falls apart, because Twilight says that this is the crime, and technically it isn't. Charging students for notes isn't necessarily a crime. In fact, in college you have to pay to get books. That's how the economy works in college. That's just how it is. There is no law against what this is. So technically the crime that these two are being accused of isn't even a proper crime. Nonetheless, Twilight gets a plan. As Flem and Flam go into their office to discuss their further plans, Twilight arrives on the scene, saying that she could totally bust them for the totally not crime, but they're treating it like a crime, so now they have stuff on each other, as she claims. And then they actually admit that they copied the book, so the actual crime is plagiarism and theft. Hello? Was the writer stupid, or writers, whichever one it is? And Twilight just completely shoves that off, like, she's actually totally fine that they would totally plagiarize / steal her work. She says that she's totally fine with it as long as they teach it for free. This is absurd. This is insanity. This is one of the worst episodes I think I've ever seen in this season. And that's following up the moral of this episode, which reminds us of a terrible episode in the previous season, which involves a certain character, being Starlight Glimmer, switching the cutie marks between the two princesses. That episode was terrible, and the moral was all about trusting your gut. And that's literally what they say the moral ends up being, is trust your gut, trust your instincts. Are you actually kidding me with this? It's just absolute nonsense. But anyways, Rarity brings in Star Swirl, and the two of them have to return their bits, and Twilight then invites all the other ponies to join her, and Star Swirl sends a little thing as they return back to their school. And just as Rarity mentions how they even got the notes in the first place, conveniently, Cozy Glow re-enters the scene. And that's probably the most interesting thing in the episode, was Cozy Glow's appearance at the beginning, when she arrives with the boxes, and arriving as soon as Rarity mentions how the notes were stolen. That is very interesting. That's actually literally the only thing that's interesting about this episode. This episode is just awful. It reminds me so much of the episode we just mentioned, which again has a moral that just isn't that strong in MLP, which is trust your gut, follow your instincts, things of that nature. Again, not particularly strong messaging, and the way they go about it, the execution, it just falls apart even further. Again, the crime that they're put against isn't even an actual crime, and the crimes that they do commit are just passed aside. It's just nonsense. This episode's terrible. It got everything wrong. This episode could have been a bit better if it had just spent a little bit more time focusing on the actual crimes that were actual crimes, in actually letting the other part slide. They should have reversed it to make it more make more sense, but no, it has to be nonsensical and just absolutely stupid. And again, how does Twilight not even know what's in her own book? just these stupid things that just are there to make the episode just last longer. Completely unnecessary. But that is our review of Friendship University. Stick top, ting dong tori! And if you enjoyed this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, everyone, farewell. Bye-bye!